we've done a series of these epic webinars over the last 6 months, and they've been absolutely spectacular. A lot of our photographers that have been on these webinars have gone on to take our epic workshops, and some of them have booked huge advertising campaigns, and even in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So there's been a lot of incredible success. And I just want you guys to realize that, like, many of you are really talented photographers out there, but a lot of you don't really necessarily have access to the scale of production. And this is a big issue, because a lot of times, we want to create something that's so spectacular and so over the top that when you show it to a client, that it wows and dazzles them. We want to be wowing and dazzling our clients across the board. We want them to be just so excited because they see an image that's not just a spectacular photograph, but we also want them to see an image that's iconic. And that's what we create. That's what we've been able to create over the last 11 years with the photography workshop series. And I've been doing this a long time. I did my bachelor's and my MFA to be a professor of photography. And throughout my entire career, I'm all about creating my own content, but also helping other photographers create the most high impact and spectacular images they've ever shot in their lifetime. So to me, that's extremely valuable, extremely important. I absolutely love to see, photographers go out there and shoot these images that completely wow and just make the client just go crazy for it. Whether you're shooting high fashion for high fashion editorial, whether you're shooting an advertising campaign, whether you're shooting for a lifestyle story, a huge corporate client, or whether you're even shooting portraits, that's okay. I just want to know, I want the clients to be excited about what you do. And one of the ways to do that is to develop something with high production value. So when we're photographing something with high production value like this, shooting something with parachutes at a water studio, shooting with unbelievable apparel from the biggest showrooms in LA, creating content with supermodels from Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, Vanity Fair, it completely it takes you to another level. It takes you to a whole new echelon of your photographic potential. And that's what I get excited about. And that's what we actually did last week. We shot with at a water studio. It was like a 30,000 square foot water studio that we shot in the LA area. We photographed with these supermodels that have been in Vogue and Harper's Bazaar and Vanity Fair. We even had an opportunity to shoot with horses that raced across the water, and creating scenarios which, if you guys have ever shot with horses, it's extremely complex. And we had the opportunity to do that. So that was pretty awesome, to be able to photograph something at this scale with horses, with parachutes. Just the sheer complexity of photographing something like this is mind-blowing to many photographers. And we're going to talk about that today, some of the secrets to what we do, of how we produce these things, how we make it happen, how we create the greatest content that each and every photographer has ever shot in their life when they attend one of our workshops. And that's where I come in. I come in as a producer, a director, an art director, a photographer, a cinematographer, and then I work with each and every one of you guys to make sure that you're maximizing your photography as well. And that's really important to me, to make sure that you guys are creating content that's so spectacular that it just makes the client go crazy for you. And that's what I want. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. I want to see that kind of success happen. So thanks, guys, for joining and being with us today. I just want to be here for you guys because I want to make sure that you realize that in this day and age, we have to create content that is unique and different, and something that stands out, something that gives you your own photographic vision, and something that is going to transcend anything else that's out there. Because obviously, photography has been a medium that's been around a long time. It's been around a couple hundred years. And in photography, it's something that it's like everything's been done before. So we're always trying to create something that's hot, that's fresh, that's new, that's going to be something that's going to make people think. It's going to make people talk. It's going to create impact. It's going to be something that you want to do a second take. And when you see an image that isn't just a photograph, but an image that's true art and something that has massive impact, it changes everything. And that's what I get really excited about. And that's what we've been doing. That's what we were able to do last week, which is fantastic. And that's what we're going to talk about today, as far as like how to create something that is so impactful that it's something that's going to essentially stand the test of time. So when you're photographing something, always think about, okay, first of all, is this image going to be marketable? Secondly, is this image going to have the kind of impact that we're looking for, that when I'm showing it to a client, are they going to be wowed and dazzled? And it depends if, you know, if it's a fine art client, if it's a consumer client, whether you're shooting portraits, whether you're shooting fashion, whether you're shooting advertising, it doesn't really matter. But across the board, you want images with impact. Right? And when you think about your most famous photographers, the most famous fashion photographers out there, for instance, or maybe your favorite photojournalists that shoot for National Geographic, they definitely have some sort of iconic image that stands out and wows them and makes them so excited, and just creates a feeling or a scene and something that has essentially never existed before. And when we can do that and we can create something like that, it takes you and your photographic brand to a higher echelon of where you want to go. So that's what we're going to discuss today. We're going to talk about, okay, when we're photographing, what does it take to create images at this scale? How do we shoot with horses racing across a water studio? How do we command a set when we have parachutes over a water studio in the desert in Los Angeles, which I can tell you what is one of the most logistically challenging things you could ever imagine. Just the sheer challenge of it, the complexity of creating a scene, specifically like this. How do we even do it? And it's not easy. It's not easy. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of planning. It takes a huge production budget and some amazing production assistants at your fingertips, because I had a huge crew. We had about 30 people on set, and I had about 7 people that were assisting and helping on every aspect of this. And that still wasn't enough. We had so many things to do. It was so complex because we're dealing with trying to inflate a parachute. We bought all these fans, these giant, like 50-inch diameter fans. We went and we realized that since I've shot here before at this location, it's called Weese's Pieces Water Studio up in north of LA. I knew that this location is so challenging because it's a water studio. Now it's only about 4 to 8 inches of water depending on where you are in the studio, so it's shallow. But the challenge is, how do we inflate a parachute over the water? And then how are we able to get the models to stand in front of it without being smacked and knocked off a platform by a parachute, which is actually what happened last year. So we want to make sure that everybody is safe, and we want to make sure that also aesthetically everything looks amazing. Okay, so the first step is really start to think about, all right, when I'm planning this, conceptually, what do I want to create? What's the conceptual idea? What do I want to tell? What kind of story do I want to tell when it comes down to this? So what I love to do, and I work with each and every one of the photographers that I like to mentor on essentially planning an inspiration board of the greatest images they've ever seen in their lifetime in a certain designated style, okay? And that's kind of important because I want something that's going to get them really excited, but also have like an inspiration of something that's going to wow them, something that's going to be really unique. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with an inspiration board. My favorite thing to do is use Pinterest. So in this case, we used Pinterest and we started compiling images that were breathtaking, images that, wow, I get just wowed and dazzled, images that are just like, oh my goodness, like I want to create something spectacular like this, right? And when I see images like that, when I see images like this, when I see images like the cover of Photo Nostrum like this, and by the way, I shot this last year at the Elite Masterclass, and it ended up getting the cover of Photo Nostrum, and our photographers that attended, for instance, Adam Friedman, actually won #1 fashion photographer of the year from what he shot at the Elite Masterclass last year, which is pretty fantastic. And this is over some of the most famous photographers in the world, Sam Musilek, Caesar Lima, Chad Riley. I mean, these are big time famous photographers. Michael Schoenfield. These are major represented, some of the biggest names in the industry. And Adam actually won with what he shot at this workshop. But because it's not just about the photography, guys, it's about the production value. And that's really, really important, is production value, right? So we came up with that inspiration. We came up with this Pinterest board and we got excited. We're like, okay, we just created this amazing, amazing content that is going to inspire me. And we have stuff with parachutes. We have stuff that's with flowing dresses. We have stuff with giant fans. We have these inflated parachutes over the course. Now, in these cases, it's actually over more of a beach areas and such, and desert, but I wanted to take it a step further. I wanted to create something over a water studio, which is a lot harder to do, because when you're down at a shoreline, you're going to have constant wind, right? There's going to be constant wind coming across the water. I actually live right here on Hermosa Beach, and I have wind blowing in across the water. So when we're out here, it's it's a very easy place to shoot it, because right here I could attach the parachute to a lifeguard tower or to a volleyball post or something like that. But when we're out here at a water studio in the desert, there's no wind at all. So I had to create the wind using giant fans, just like you see here. So we had giant fans like this, and we were blowing the wind up into the parachutes. And that was the challenge, right? Creating content that where we had to logistically do something to essentially move a giant, massive scale parachute and inflate it with wind. So I ended up buying, I think we had like 5 or 6 large scale fans blowing in different directions up into the parachute and up. And then I had multiple assistants on scaffolding, and the scaffolding was attached to a giant pickup truck. So it was just to make sure that it wasn't going to blow over. So that was challenging in and of itself. Then obviously it's the wardrobe. Guys, we want to make sure that the wardrobe is amazing. The wardrobe is over the top. And when we're shooting an image that's so over the top and spectacular, and it's going to wow and dazzle people, we've got to make something that's going to be timeless. It's going to be classic. So we pulled wardrobe from designers and showrooms. Now, this is one of the designers. It's actually a designer that designs these amazing flowing dresses. And the dresses are massive and huge. So we use them over the course of the water where models are standing on platforms, but it's very, very challenging to photograph something like this and make it look real. So what we did is we had like 3 people standing behind this dress, holding it up, and we even had a giant ladder that was about 15 feet up where we had somebody standing and holding it and wafting the dress. So it was very logistically challenging, but we also want to make sure that it looks real. And then, of course, we got to get the model into the right pose. So then there's a lot of guidance and art directing and posing. Now, what's great about a studio like this, especially this time of year, because this is, we shot this just last week, and the days are essentially very short. It's in the autumn, so what we're having is the sun is dipping down in the sky. So even when we're shooting at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the light is actually pretty spectacular. It's pretty brutal on the model. This is shot at around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Right? So even though it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, most photographers freak out at that time because the light's so brutal coming down, straight down over your face. But because of the angle of the sun this time of year and the angle of how this water studio is built, the sun tracks across the sky and it perfectly lights the models all the way until sunset. And it's absolutely incredible. So I actually didn't use any strobes or lighting. We only used daylight throughout this whole series when we're photographing every different scene in it. Now, one of the photographers here who joined us, we have all these amazing panelists here on today. And one of the photographers, the great Seth Smith. Now, Nick, I want to welcome you on here. Nick, you're incredible. You're a photographer in the Los Angeles area. And honestly, the image you created here was the strongest image, I think, of this entire scene, the one with this amazing, almost angelic outfit. The wardrobe is incredible. We pulled it from an amazing showroom called For the Stars in LA. And we shot with this supermodel, Anna, who's one of the top supermodels from Europe. And we shot with her in the water, bare feet. And you came up with the genius idea of, hey, what if we make her kick her feet? What if I get down low and risk everything, have my camera get wet, which you did, but have her kick water into it. What inspired you to do that, Nick?
I think it was really the just the energy that she was creating. I mean, the costume that she's wearing is very, very dynamic, and it was picking up the light nicely. But while she was standing there, it just looked a little bit flat, and so I figured that bringing some foreground interest into it would be fun. And since we're in water, water seemed like the logical thing. And you're right, my camera did get wet, but that's why we have water sealed cameras.
That's right. That's right. But also, Nick, it wasn't just about like getting her kicking into the camera, but it was also the way in which you framed it. Like, I absolutely love the way you framed it. I love the look of the studio here. I love the way she's kicking water into the camera. I love the giant white balls off to the left. I love the angle and the way that you captured her for a beautiful double page spread. So what went through your mind when you were art directing this scene?
Well, certainly the double page spread was one of them. I mean, the studio has a lot of different vignettes, and this is the straight out of camera version. In retouching, I've obviously fixed where your cursor is there. I fixed some of that, cleaned it up a bit. But the main thing was that you've got her walking into the scene, so she's got plenty of room to look out on the other page. She's got plenty of space to give some dynamism, and then by getting low, A, it makes her tall, and B, it really accentuated the water, and so it just sort of, just told the story. It was mostly just about fun and energy and excitement. I mean, she's an amazing model to start with. The costume is spectacular, and then, as I say, with the texture of the water, particularly once that gets sharpened and so on, it really, really pops.
Excellent. Yeah, I think it does. I think it rocked my world. When I saw you shoot this, it just got me so excited because I'm like, oh my God, this image is iconic, Nick. This is the kind of image that changes everything in a photographer's career. So I'm so proud of you because this image right here, this is going on the front of your fashion portfolio. Okay, this is it. And I know you just came with me to New York and you shot some of the greatest images of your life you ever did in New York with models that have been in the Giorgio Armani campaign and in Vogue and Vanity Fair, but this is on another planet. Okay, so the quality of what you shot, not only did we create mind-blowing content in New York, I mean, which was really, really unbelievable. And for those of you guys who didn't see this, this is what we shot like 3-4 weeks ago in New York, and this was mind-blowing. Okay, but then what we shot here, to me, this is more iconic. Shooting something like this is something that's going to stand the test of time. And I love every aspect of about it. Also, what makes this too is we brought in a creative director from L'Oreal on hair, Dorico Jackson. We had an unbelievable celebrity makeup artist who's one of the top in Los Angeles. The styling was completely insane. And obviously the model is what makes it, guys. If you're not working with top tier models and supermodels that have been in major top magazines like Vogue, Vanity Fair, L'Officiel, Harper's Bazaar, it's not even worth having them in your book for fashion. Just not, because you have to compete with the biggest fashion photographers in the world. The ones that, that Adam Friedman had just beat in the 2019 Fashion Photographer of the Year Award and the One Island Awards. Those are some of the most famous fashion photographers. And they're all shooting the top models from Vogue and Vanity Fair. So if you want to shoot something at that scale and be considered for clientele, you've got to shoot with top tier models. Really, really important. Now, that's something that, a lot of photographers struggle with. And one of the things that the biggest issues that photographers have is, how do we get great models, right? Because a lot of times photographers, it's like, if you don't have a relationship with a modeling agency, you're working with models from Model Mayhem. You might be working with models people that people that you met. I don't want you to ever do that. I don't ever do that. I would never work with a non-agency represented model. Won't even consider it for a number of reasons. First of all, because they're not professional, right? If you work with somebody who's not represented, they might flake on you. They might not show up. They're certainly not going to have the right sizes and looks, because if they did, they would be represented by a top agency like Elite, Wilhelmina, Vision, Next, Bounty, IMG. They're with one of the big agencies already if they had the right look and sizes. So you want the right height. Typically like Anna right here, she's like 5'10". And she's got the perfect sizes. They're typically like a 00. They typically have that, you know, really long Amazon kind of look. And specifically when we're doing high fashion, I like to cast models that are European supermodels, because the ones in Europe and Russia are going to be some of the strongest. They're going to give us the kind of look that's going to be like, oh my gosh, I mean, it's on another level. We just don't have a lot of American models that look like this, right? And this is a different kind of look. This is Belena. She's been in Harper's Bazaar, Vogue, and it was incredible that she's actually the model that won that Top Fashion Photographer of the Year award. For the photographer won it by shooting her last year, so I brought her back, and we actually shot her 2 out of the 3 days. It was absolutely stunning. So Nick, what was it like being on a set like this and photographing at this scale?
Fun. No, it was a lot more than just fun. I mean, yeah, it was amazing. I mean, as you said, I mean, it's a whole production. I mean, so, you know, in some ways, as the photographer, you're a small part of a much bigger production. But I think the thing that struck me about this, and the same with New York, was the professionalism, and everybody got on. I mean, we were a big team, and everybody got on. Everyone pulled together. It was an amazing event to be at. And so I think we all were, you know, I mean, obviously just the atmosphere was right to be able to create wonderful images, and definitely the models were incredible. They were really, you know, they were incredibly professional, but they're also very friendly. You know, you hear the sort of the horror stories of the prima donnas, and none of these were. They were just real people that got on and did a job and didn't complain, didn't get on. And you know, I mean, they were working hard. They were standing, looking face direct into the sun, you know, feet in water, you know, for hours on end, and just got on. That makes a huge difference. And then, of course, there's all the rest of the stuff. I mean, you know, the parachute itself was nothing if not a challenge, and I think he did an amazing job to get it going. So yeah, this is what I've always wanted to do, and the opportunity to do it has been fantastic. And
Awesome. Awesome. And Nick, it's been such a pleasure. I mean, I worked with you both in New York and in Los Angeles. You were an absolute professional on set. You worked incredibly with the models. The models responded well to you because you're professional, because the way you communicated with them was amazing. Can you give some maybe advice on like maybe what you would say to the models to get them to do exactly what you wanted? Because I noticed you had a lot of great expressions. You had a lot of good connection with the models. Could you tell me about that?
sure. So the very first thing is, I mean, beyond just establishing a basic rapport, you know, a little courtesy goes an awful long way. But the main thing is to help them understand the story, whatever the story is that we're telling. If they understand what the story is, then they can, I mean, they're incredible actors and actresses. I mean, you know, they know how to create expressions, but unless they know what you're looking for, then you know then you're just going to get what they choose. So I always spent, you know, a couple of minutes with them before I shot them, saying, here's my vision. This is what I'm thinking of. This is what I'd like you to do. Not just this is where I want to stand, but here's the story I want to tell. And that's really where the expressions come from. And then as we're shooting, I'm still talking to them. I'm English and quiet, so I have to shout loud, but as best I can, I get, get across them. But as I say, it's really about, if they understand the story and I know what the story is that I'm shooting, then we've got a starting point, and then it flows from there.
Excellent, excellent. That's some good advice. I want to look at a few of your pictures too, Nick. And by the way, guys, if you guys want to learn more in depth about how to produce a shoot at this scale, or if you want a photography, an expert to review your images and give you a portfolio review, check out the chat section. I just listed a link there, and I love to do this because I really like to not only do webinars and give you guys all this amazing value and free content and guidance, but I also like to set up free consults with professional photographic and producing consultants. And we actually have a team of them on right now. So I've got the great Priscilla Evans, who she's new to our team, but she's actually a production coordinator with us. She's the one who actually coordinated bringing in 2 of the most spectacular horses and brought them in to the set, which is extremely complex and hard to do because a lot of horses are not comfortable being around parachutes. They're not comfortable being on water. They're not comfortable being around 30 people on set. And this is actually, Priscilla happened to also model in this because she's also a professional horse rider and horse jumper. So she coordinated this whole thing with the horses. It was pretty incredible, and was, essentially racing across the water with the horses, creating the splash and everything like that. So if you guys want to set up a photographic producing or review consult, please set it up in the link there. I also have the amazing Dan Rothschild, who also was there on premise, and he was incredible on set. And he's been to the last 4 workshops in a row. So he was with us in Newport Beach. Dan was with us in Chicago. Dan was with us in New York, and actually was not with us in New York because he was actually out in Tahiti in French Polynesia, but he just came to our Epic Elite Masterclass last week, and he's coming to Miami this week. This is actually what we shot while we were with Dan in Chicago. And these images, by the way, most of these, I believe, were all from the great David Giesbrecht, who's on this webinar right now. Super talented photographer, superstar photographer, great at art directing and posing something on a large scale. So props to you, David. You did an incredible job. But anyway, so Daniel Rothschild, he works with David and a lot of our other top photographers here, just like Nick as well, and Hans, who's on this panel as well, and Kelly. And Dan does a lot of guidance and coaching to help photographers take it to the next level, because he's really motivated to help our photographers maximize their photographic potential. And the other thing I would actually like to mention on that is we see a lot of photographic success, guys. We've had a lot of photographers that have taken our workshops, even in the last few months, that have already landed massive scale opportunities, advertising campaigns, fashion lookbooks for designers, lifestyle campaigns, huge contracts. And a lot of it has to do with the images that they shot at the workshops. It also has to do with the guidance and personalized coaching that we give for free, because we're here to help motivate and help each and every one of you guys. So please go ahead and click on that link in the chat and set up a photographic consult. It's free of charge. We just want you to get on and connect with us, and we'll work with you. We're offering that this coming week. Now, half of us are going to be on location in Miami Beach, shooting one of the most spectacular productions, where we're going to be shooting at a mansion in Key Largo with a seaplane. Where we're going to be shooting with supermodels from Sports Illustrated, and we're going to be photographing another mansion in Miami Beach, as well as an ultra luxury resort. And we're going to be shooting a high-end, massive scale production that is without question one of the most spectacular workshops we've ever done in Miami Beach, and it's on a whole nother ballgame. And we're going to be also doing a webinar live from Miami Beach in a couple of weeks as well. So if you guys are interested in learning how to do this further, as far as producing, as far as art direction, as far as posing, as far as portfolio reviews and what you might need in your portfolio, click on that link. I'd love to have you guys join us. And that would be absolutely fantastic. We also have the great Jim Donohue. Jim, he's also new to our team, and Jim has been an absolute rock star working with our photographers. He's an amazing coaching guide for photographers, and Jim has already been really, really making a huge difference in a lot of our photographers' lives. In fact, some of you guys are already worked with Jim already that are on this webinar right now. We've got some amazing people, and even Sean, the great Sean Ashanti, who's going to be also joining us in Miami, which I'm really excited about. Sean is an expert in video production. In fact, he's been filming at both the workshops in New York as well as the masterclass, and has some unbelievable content shot on location. So he's got a lot of expertise, not only in photography, but also in video production. So anyway, so guys, when we get into producing, I'd love for you guys to start asking some questions on here in the Q&A, right? So there's the Q&A that I want you guys to ask some questions, because I love answering your guys' questions. And this is what my expertise is producing large scale productions that are so over the top that they get photographers, they win them massive scale awards. They give photographers the opportunity to shoot images on this scale. And that makes me really excited. So please ask some Q&A. I'd love to hear from you. And I'd like to also obviously get to our amazing photographers. Now, this masterclass was without exception the most spectacular photographic workshop we've ever done in the last 11 years. Okay. And obviously from what you guys have seen in these images and what our photographers have shot, it's really, really exciting to see what we actually created. Now, if you guys are interested in attending the Elite Masterclass or coming to the Miami Beach workshop that we have next week, which a spot just opened up because David Giesbrecht, who's on right now, essentially him and his wife just booked a massive scale 6-figure campaign, wasn't able to attend, so a spot is available. So if you guys do want to do that, I'd love to get you guys on there. And if you are interested in any of what we do, if you guys have any interest whatsoever, I'd love for you to also answer the poll that we have. We have some epic photographic workshops coming up, and most of them are being sold out already for the first few months in 2021. So I want to know, which ones are you most interested in? So go ahead and answer the poll question. Which photographic workshops are you most interested in to develop your photographic portfolio and career and take it to the next level? So whether Miami Beach in April, coming up in November, we also have a section in April. Whether you want to shoot resort lifestyle or Sports Illustrated swimsuit models, because we have sections on both. Whether you guys want to shoot something like in Newport Beach, where we're shooting the most spectacular slice of life advertising campaign. And we shot just an unbelievable story in Newport Beach that was absolutely mind-blowing. Whether you want to come to Denver and shoot a winter wonderland story and create something where we're going to be photographing up at an epic log cabin mansion estate and creating content that's going to be all about that winter wonderland. And I know, it's winter's coming. It's November 1st. The days are getting shorter. But I tell you what, this really complements a body of work that's shot in Miami, in the heat, or shot in California for that California look, or shot in Chicago for that kind of hometown Midwest look, right? So this is another spectacular one that we have coming up. We only do this once every 5 years. We also have our Napa Valley experience happening in May, and this is really exciting. We're going to be shooting an epic castle wedding fashion story, and we're enrolling photographers now for this. And originally we were going to do it like a month ago, but what happened was that the fires that happened in California, it kind of decimated that whole region, so we had to postpone this one till 2021. But a lot of our photographers are really eager to do this because we're going to be doing this at a massive scale production. So if you guys are interested in something like that, and even if you guys have any questions on how to produce something where we're shooting with horses at a castle, shooting with $100,000 worth of wedding dresses, and doing something on the scale, we can actually show you how to do that. But this one's going to be something that's really, really, really special in Napa Valley. And then, of course, we just talked about Chicago on the vintage Mad Men story. Now, I know there's a bunch of you guys on here right now, but I want to make sure all of you guys answer this question. So I think only about a third of you have answered. So please, if you haven't already, please select which workshop you're most interested in the poll section. And this is what we just shot this year in Chicago, just like 2 months ago. Unbelievable. We shot with horses. We shot with a 1960s Corvette convertible. And it was this whole vintage Mad Men editorial that was just mind-blowing. Absolutely love the story of what we shot. And then also we had a section on lifestyle. And this lifestyle stuff, in fact, this image right here was from our photographer, David Giesbrecht, really, really takes photographers to the next level. Absolutely incredible. And then, of course, there's the New York workshop. So if you guys are interested in the New York fashion, working with supermodels that have been in the Giorgio Armani campaign or Vogue or Vanity Fair, we've got the New York fashion experience. We do it right after Fashion Week in New York, and we get the best of the best, the creme de la creme models. And then, of course, if you guys are interested in the Elite Masterclass, like we just did, that is the most over-the-top and epic production of the year. And Hans, I know you're on right now, and you've come to the last 4 workshops, including the Masterclass. Was the Masterclass, Hans, do you think that was the most epic production we've done yet with you?
Yeah, it was okay. It was, I think it was my fourth workshop in a row. So COVID changed a little bit all my plans and my business plans. So I decided to do more workshop and build up my portfolio. And honestly, I never saw a studio like this out in the desert. was amazing. I never saw a wardrobe like this. It was mind-blowing wardrobe. It was unbelievable. And all of the models, they were most models were from Russia. I love their expressions for fashion shooting, as they were unbelievable, super professional. And yeah, I did. I think I did one of my best shots I ever did in my life. Yeah, this is. Were really, I was really excited shooting all time. Yeah, and from different angles, from art directing my own scenes. Yeah, we had a lot of possibilities to get better with our skills, and working with supermodels. I probably couldn't afford to do it by my own for private shooting.
And these are all images that Hans shot at the workshop, straight out of camera, unretouched, just directly out of camera. Mind-blowing, Hans. Absolutely mind-blowing here, what you created. So proud of you, man. These images they take you to another level, to another echelon. And what I love about this, Hans, is since this is the 4th workshop you've done in a row, you've built this 40-image cohesive body of work with fashion, with lifestyle. And then now we're at this point where we're going to start to refine it. And I know that you and we set up actually a one-on-one business session that's happening in December. And I'm really excited about that, because you and I are going to sit down and we're going to call through everything that you've shot, and we're going to get just the best of the best of the best. We're going to define your new business strategy plan for 2021 and how to maximize profitability, usage, creative fees, and how to leverage images at the scale, stuff shot at a water studio with parachutes and horses, etc., and be able to start leverage this to get you published and to land you fashion lookbook opportunities, fashion advertising opportunities, etc. So I'm really excited. I mean, this is mind blowing. And also, Hans, you did some very thoughtful things here. I love how this is a double page spread. I love how, if I do this and I basically have one page here, right? This is one page where the topography goes, one page where essentially the meat of the image goes. And this is straight out of camera, not even retouched yet, right? And there's not much I would even do to this. It's so stunning because of the wardrobe. But when you create images like this, Hans, it makes you one of the most prominent photographers now in the world.
I don't even see a picture over there. I still have this calendar in front of me.
Okay. Well, hopefully the rest of you guys can see it. Yep. So I'm showcasing the images of with Valena, with the giant gold and the parachute behind her, and they're absolutely stunning. And I'm just so impressed at essentially the thoughtfulness, the art direction, the posing, and how you coach the models into these scenarios. And they're also vastly different than what Nick shot as well, which I like, because I want each photographer to capture their own perspective. Oh, I love this. Like, love that. Love the energy, love the intention. Straight out of camera, guys, not even retouched. Breathtaking.
Your show, Kevin. I don't see anything. Is there anything wrong with my computer?
Is our screen visible?
Yeah, your screen's visible.
I only see the producing for Photoshoot's photographic consult.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Well, just it's probably in Zoom for you on there, Hans. But all the images we're just viewing your images, and they're incredible.
But I know my images.
It's all good. It's all good. So Hans, was there a certain moment that you felt like, wow, like I shot the greatest image of my lifetime? Just that wow moment for you. Like which day was that on? And can you tell me about that experience?
It was the first day, and I love the model, Hannah. Nick did this great shot you just showed. She's like I was thinking about the first day. It's like Waterworld over there. We have a it's like another planet with only women, and we have a queen. Verena, and we had Hannah. She's like a guardian. She's like a warrior. She looks, her expression is so super strong. Yeah. And she was walking through this water, kicking this water. And I think she has a ballet or a dance education she must have. How she moves. She doesn't only stand over there and waits for the shot. No, she's moving. She brings a lot of energy in the shot, and the session. I love this. This was my really best scene, and I think I did my best shots when during the video session, because I tried to shoot from another angle too, and more seeing the water when she's walked through the water, and very fast and kicking and very strong. And I love this scene. Yeah. And the end of day one with the two models, Verena, and who was the other one?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
love the
let me
scene
pull those
too.
up
So
so that we can talk about
yeah,
that. So the
yeah,
end of the scene with two models together.
right.
And I
Yeah.
know exactly what you're talking about. These images here, and this is not easy to do when you're shooting fashion with these kind of avant-garde models. Getting something that is in the right pose. You know, I love this one. I love the hands gestures. I love the frizz, the phrase on this. And Elena just, of course, rocks it. But so impressed at this, Hans. You knocked it out of the park. Beautiful work, beautiful work. But there was a lot of wow moments for you, Hans. And since this is the fourth one in a row, I mean, it seems like these keep getting better, doesn't it?
Oh, he sure. Yeah. My God, this is it's totally different what I was shooting before your workshops. So I was shooting a lot of portraits and yeah, families at the beach. And COVID changed a lot in my thinking about business. Yeah. And when I started the first workshop with you in Newport it changed everything. So you want more. Yeah. You want more, you want more, you want more good models, you want more good shots. And now I'm thinking that my pictures or I try to tell a story in my pictures. Yeah, every picture has to be it has to be a story. Some people have to think about when they see a picture, and yeah, I really appreciate what you do for us, because you don't you bring all this stunning places, stunning models for us, and but it's not everything. We talk a lot about the scenes, what we're going to do, and this is a lot of new experience for me, and I improved my skills 100%. I'm very sure.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I totally agree, Hans. I totally agree. These were when you work with supermodels at this scale that have been in Harper's Bazaar, Vogue, Vanity Fair, and you have that access to that world class production, it takes it to another level. Yeah, I'm really proud of you, man, for what you created. It's just stunning. And going forward, Hans, let's get excited for what's happening. You're going to be coming to Miami Beach next week. And it's going to be mind blowing. We're going to be shooting on location with some Sports Illustrated swimsuit models in Miami Beach, working with in a mansion in Key Largo with seaplanes. It's going to be insane. Okay. So I'm really excited about that. Awesome. All right, now we had some other amazing photographers obviously join us here, and we have a number of them on right now, which I'm really grateful for that. Including the great Carl Brooks. Now, Carl, you did an amazing, I think you did originally a virtual photography workshop with us, and kind of in the midst of COVID. And what was really cool is that you've been really following us and trying to make this happen for a long time. And you finally came to a workshop in person. And I love it because you created some mind-blowing images at that workshop experience. So Carl, can you talk to me about what that experience was like, being in person with us at your first in-person experience, shooting with parachutes at a water studio?
Well, this being the first time, it was mind-blowing for me, because I'd never been on a production set of this magnitude ever. And what I found really, really interesting was just observing a lot of what was going on and how smoothly and how the entire staff and team was just constantly moving back and forth, and making sure that we had what we needed. It was mind blowing. So, a big shout out to you guys for that. I got to rub elbows with, a lot of these guys, and I was, like going, wow, this is just awesome, type of thing. And I was just blown away. And I would encourage anyone who's considering coming to a workshop, definitely do it. Try and put it together and make it happen, because, as you've already heard, this water studio was just out of this world, and it was fabulous. And I loved, just how we all worked together and how smooth, everything went. So the other item, was there were 4 representatives, agents on day one. And they came and spent an enormous amount of time and just shared all kinds of, tidbits and what they're looking for. I mean, it was, really cool. And then on top of it, contact us, So I was like, wow. So for me, grabbing images like this, I would have never been able to do without this workshop. So
Pretty awesome, Carl. I'm proud of you, man, because I know we've been talking for a long time, and I'm just so glad that you got to come in person and do this at the highest level and at the scale. And I know, you want to also do Napa as well, but at the scale of what we created here, it's just on another planet. Right. So that's what I get really, really excited about, because now, with what you shot here, you go back to, Northern California and showcase this to your clients. It wows and dazzles them with this kind of talent, because the faces matter. Having the right faces in your book, they really do. It matters as far as the look and the feel of what we can create. Now, shooting at a water studio, though, guys, has a lot of challenges. Bringing in, if we were to bring in lights, there's a lot of electrical issues. There were plenty of electrical issues where we had to line in electrical over the water to essentially plug in fans to then blow into the giant parachutes. So it becomes really, really complicated. But one of the things that I really liked was that when we shot this scene, for instance, we had the models with no shoes on, barefoot, walking through the water, and we were able to create some really dynamic scenes because we're shooting with the water rather than kind of keeping them out of the water. And it made it a lot stronger, in my opinion. Now I'm loving this, Carl. Now, what do you feel like you kind of took away from this that you learned the most?
Boy, that I was better than what I was. That was very interesting. Taking a look at the images that I was able to produce when I got back home, I was like, wow, I took that. Oh, wow, I did that. So that was very interesting to me. And then being able to, just interact with photographers from all across the country. It was just incredible to just, sit and talk to them. And, Priscilla, I talked to a lot as well. And, it was just incredible. The value I got is something that, I'm targeting Newport Beach, Napa next year, because they just fit into my timelines. But also, it was the advice that was given. Kevin took a look at how I was shooting and what I was shooting, and then he goes, Carl, I want you to go to Newport Beach. You and lifestyle would be dynamic. And I'm like, okay, let's see if we can't make that happen. So right out of the gate, you're being, you know, kind of like guided, you know, for the first time, because really, you know, guidance in photography is minimal. You know, you can get all the education that you want, but until you get around a group of photographers that know what they're doing and you have a production that knows what they're doing, that's where you really learn. You know, you really learn it from there. So I would strongly encourage anyone to just, you know, again, get to it.
Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate it, and I'm really glad that you had a great experience. And I know you've been such a great a student of ours, because you come to like almost every webinar we've directed, and I really appreciate that. I really love that all that you know, those of you who are on right now who come over and over again to our webinars, because I want to give you as much value. I want to make you guys the best photographers that you possibly can be. I want to give you the opportunity to master your photographic potential. Because I tell you what, I did my bachelor's and my MFA to be a professor of photography. I've been a commercial advertising photographer my entire career. I've shot huge six-figure campaigns. I've shot for major celebrity editorials. I've published 180 magazine editorials. I've filmed commercials. I've filmed television. But you know what? I love to give photographers like you, Carl, the opportunity to create the greatest images you've ever shot in your life. And every single photographer that attended that workshop, we had 13 photographers last week. Every single photographer that was there shot the greatest images of their lifetime. Every single one. And some of them had been shooting for 40 years. So to me, that says a lot. It means that you have potential, just like you, Carl, just like you, Nick, just like you, Evan, who's on, and Hans. You guys, you all, and Kelly as well, your potential is spectacular. But if you don't have access to that production, if you live in a rural area, or you don't have access to supermodels, you don't have that photographic currency in your book already, it's kind of hard to do it. And I tell you what, you know, one of the ways I'm able to cast the supermodels that I do, for instance, you know, Valena, which is the model you guys just, you know, we just been looking at, you know, she's been the cover of Harper's Bazaar Beauty. She's a big time top fashion model. She's been in Vogue. She's on the top of her game. I have access to these models because of my photographic currency, right? And that's what you now have, Carl. That's what you now have. You have that photographic currency with models at that scale, so that if you contact modeling agencies and you want to produce something on your own, now you have access to do that. Now, of course, it's not cheap. It's expensive to put on productions like this. You know, what we shot with the water studio with horses and parachutes, it's equivalent of about $100,000 a day production. We shot 3 days like that. It was on that scale. So when you have that scale production, obviously it's going to be costly, and it's so fantastical that a lot of clients would never, ever foot the bill for something like that, especially for fashion clients. So that was really spectacular that you had the opportunity to be there, because those images, you know, are literally almost impossible to create otherwise. You know, it's just so over the top. Yeah. So, yeah. And by the way, you know, I want to address some of your guys' questions before we go on to some others. I see Karen Hirsch and Julio Hirsch as well. Great to see you guys. We have J. Christopher Scoba. Looking at, I was looking for reflectors to make the metal clothing shine and bring some attitude. Absolutely. I think that there was a lot of reflection. There was a lot of attitude. There was a lot of drama in this, and I absolutely loved it, right? It was incredible, and you created some really epic moments. In fact, you know, Hans, you created an image that, you know, I feel like is perfect for Flaunt magazine. Really dramatic, high fashion, really, really, really edgy, and something that I know we talked about it, but, you know, we met with the owner of Flaunt magazine, Luis Barajas, was actually at the workshop. He was one of our panelists, and we talked about that because, you know, he has something that he's looking for that's really, really specific and really, really dramatic. And, you know, and you shot an image, Hans, for instance, that that I feel captures that. It captures what we were going for. It captures that, you know, really intense drama. In fact, I'll show you guys. So I'm going to pull out this amazing black and white image that is very fine art, more fine art fashion, more in line with Flaunt magazine. And I feel like this is something that Lewis would love to see. So I gave Hans some guidance on approaching them specifically with an image like this, right? And each clientele, guys, has a very specific interest of what they're looking for. Some clientele want very lifestyle, some want very fashion, some want fashion lifestyle, some want fine art. So we have to cater and curate our body of work specifically to that. That's super, super important. All right. So, and thanks, Jay Christopher Scoba. And he asks, is there a reason the images were not retouched? Well, yeah, it's because we just shot them last week. These photographers haven't even had a chance to retouch them. These are just straight out of camera, guys. Right out of camera. And that's what's so spectacular, is that the images, the hair, the makeup, the wardrobe, the models are so spectacular that they look incredible right out of camera without even being retouched. And that's what I'm looking for, because this is a very logistically challenging shoot, and very, very important to be able to see what the raw images really, really look for. So, all right. And then Chris Johnson just asked a great question. Is there a price range for your workshops that they range in? Absolutely, Chris. So the workshops all have different investments. They range anywhere from around $17.95 all the way up to $98.90 to attend the workshops. These are the 4-day workshops. We also have an elite experience, which is really, really spectacular, but it's something that it's not even on our website yet. But I personally just bought a castle in France, a 49-room, 17-bedroom, 12-bathroom castle, and we are shooting at this. In fact, I'm actually flying there in 2 weeks. I'm flying on the 13th. I'm flying to France, and I'm going to be there on location at the castle, and I'm even going to be conducting a live webinar from there as well. But we're going to be doing an epic production there at the castle, and that's a bit more of an investment. That's at $17K to enjoy that experience, but it's a 5-day, all-intensive, massive scale production where we're going to be shooting with supermodels from Paris, and you're going to be creating the most mind-bending, over-the-top images you've ever shot, and it includes a stay at the castle. So this is a little video of the castle itself, and you get to actually stay in the castle. We have a Michelin star chef. We have a masseuse on premise in the North Tower. We have a massage room. It has 2 wine cellars. We have our own branded wine for the castle, for Chateau Le Rêve. So we have, and it also has a swimming pool, jacuzzi on premise. It's an amazing place to stay. It's a couple hours from Paris. I'm going to actually be heading there in a couple of weeks. But anyway, so if you guys are interested in doing an epic experience like this, definitely let us know. This is very custom and very elite, and it's something that it's going to be absolutely like a dream experience of a lifetime. So that's actually why we call it Chateau de Rêve, because it's essentially French Dream Castle. So that's it's going to be pretty spectacular. All right, guys. So another question from Chris. Chris, you were asking about the Denver workshop. Great question. Last time we did the Denver workshop, Chris is asking where your Denver workshop, where in Denver is it? And want to let you know, last time we did it up in the Breckenridge area, up at like 10,000 feet. This year, we're going to be doing it a little bit closer to Denver to make it a little bit more accessible. So we're going to be doing it in the Boulder, Colorado area. And we're going to be shooting at an epic mansion log cabin estate. And that's for the Denver workshop in March for the Winter Wonderland experience. So Chris, make sure to set up a photographic consult with one of our panelists. And also, I'd really like for you to click on that link in the chat and set one of those up so we can talk to you more about that, about your photography, and also maybe answer more of your questions. Also, guys, please answer the poll questions that are listed on here right now. How likely are you to enroll in one of these workshops? We'd like to know. All right, so thank you guys so much. And I can't wait to see many of you coming up, actually, at the upcoming workshops, and also coming to France, because I know some of you are coming there as well. Now, I want to also showcase another one of our amazing photographers. We have the amazing Evan Siegel. And Evan, this was your first photographic workshop with us. And Evan, I'd love for you to tell us about what your experience was and how you felt, during this epic workshop.
Well, I've been shooting for a long time, but I have to say that this was unlike anything I had ever done before. I've shot all over the world. I've shot in France and Italy and Australia. And in terms of the production, the quality of the models, their expressions, because in fact they were high fashion, but they did have some flexibility of expression. And the production itself was unreal, exactly what had been promised by Sean and by Kevin and Dan. So I was very, very impressed by how it came together so beautifully every single day.
Excellent, excellent. Was there a certain aha moment? Did you love, like, with the horses, with the parachutes? What day was most interesting to you?
Well, for a very narrow margin, 2/1, but just because I think of the horses and the fact that I had become a little familiar with the Weiss's pieces set the first day, and therefore the second day enabled even more artistic expression, having become more familiar with the location, some of the models, and how you do the production. It seems a bit free form at the beginning, but it's all planned to the nth degree without being rigid. And I felt that it crescendoed beautifully. And then into lifestyle, which is new for me. I felt I captured some good lifestyle images, and most importantly, really learned from all of you how to start doing it. So I ended up feeling absolutely with the highest wow factor from all of the days.
Excellent. Well, it was so fun to have you there, Evan. And I felt like you had a really powerful photographic vision. And I'm really excited about the images you shot and also the variation, because just like what you said, from the difference between what we shot with high fashion to what we shot with lifestyle, it's night and day. But I think it's important for photographers to be able to do both. And it's a very, very different skill to have. So, but I feel like you knocked it out of the park. And also, photographing horses is tough, right? Getting from the right perspective, shooting the right angles with the horses so that they're not too distorted, making sure that you're not too high, not too low, not easy to do. Now, luckily we had some models that could handle the horses well. And some of them were really strong on the horses and some of them were not. But like Valena could handle herself really well up there, and kind of guide the horse. And then Priscilla, of course, could just, she's literally galloping through the water, creating some unbelievable sequences at the water studio. But depending on what the model's comfort level is, we have to adapt to that, right? So, if the model can gallop through the water, that's a different story. It's a lot easier, obviously, to work with. And I love what you got here, Evan. This is amazing. And tell me about this scene, like as far as capturing the splash, capturing the right moment, and how you did that.
Well, I think I've been taught through decades, positioning is really critical. Always move around, always look at different angles, look to where the light is, how it's shining. If it's imperfect, you deal with it. Open up the ISO, which I had to do quite substantially because I was shooting medium format. And essentially, it was always looking for the edge, but making sure you capture the image at all costs. So for me, I watched the go around. Priscilla was stupendous in being in range for photography and at the same time showing flexibility and how she moved with the horse, with the light, with the set, the set itself. And so for me, it was making sure that I learned from the first 1, 2, 3 go arounds, the circularity that she was creating, and made sure I was positioned to get the best that I could get under the circumstances.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. And I think you did. I think you did a really knockout job there. And it's not easy to do when you're photographing a horse, somebody galloping towards you, capturing that right moment. Not easy to do, but I feel like you knocked it out of the park there. But I'm really impressed at what you shot. Also, what we shot here, towards the end of the day, we created some amazing content. And with the parachute, this was actually day one of, I think this was, I'm sorry, day two, but the first scene of day one. And you did a really good job waiting until the parachute inflated. And I really love these sequences because what we did here, this is a lot more challenging, guys, because we were dealing with not enough wind. And then also we had like an issue with the parachute being too close to the edge of where we were producing and shooting. I wanted the models to be out on a platform. So we actually drove a pickup truck down into the water and shot with it, with the parachute out there, and it was made it a lot easier, made it a lot more dynamic.
Well, to me, it was so dedication from you and the rest of the staff in putting this together and dealing with the conditions. Lower light later in the day of day 2 as compared with day 1. It showed a great deal of production flexibility, and that helped us get the images.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Evan, you just shot the greatest image of your lifetime. Was there a certain image that was like, wow, like I can't even believe I shot this?
I would say several of the images, a couple of the ones with the horse, the one with Priscilla that you showed, a couple of the others with the purple dress, the model with the purple dress, where there was actually some motion, not just static. I really loved those myself. The parachute, particularly the second day, the ones, some of the red dress ones, I love this, the symmetry yet asymmetry, the parachute in the left portion of the scene, the dress, and then the dress flaring to the lower right. There was both a symmetricity and an asymmetricity that seemed to create more dynamic movement for me, even though she wasn't really moving.
Absolutely. That's a really great way to describe it. I actually really love that, because you're right. It's like almost like these 2 half moons on each side.
Yeah.
Really well executed here. I really love it. And I love the feeling. I love the, how we have vernacular color, where the color appears, same color appears 3 or more times in the image, and you've got the red throughout, and it draws the eye in, and it creates, the impact with the audience and what the audience is looking for. So absolutely amazing there. Fantastic. So Evan, I'm proud of you, man. And I can't wait, because I know you've signed up for 2 more of these epic workshops, and I can't wait to see it at the next ones, because they're going to be absolutely stunning. And each one is vastly different than the other. Each workshop that we do is a completely different ballgame, right? So I get really, really excited. Now, one of the things that's important, guys, is like when we are looking at something with high production value is really important. Doing something at this scale, this is why all the photographers that I'm suggesting that attended this workshop should put this on the cover of their portfolio, because this is award worthy. This is publishable, covered, and we're going to have several editorials published from this workshop, but have this production quality. But it's really important that you remember you've got to invest in yourself. And I think that right now is a critical time. It's everything's starting to open up again. 2021 is going to be a big year for photography, because there's so many productions that weren't able to get shot this year, but in 2021 they will. So I would strongly recommend we really start to invest in ourselves for 2021. And that includes developing your portfolio, like attending these epic workshops. It involves developing your marketing, which setting up a business strategy plan, which, by the way, we're offering, free consults with our photographic consultants.
Who indeed.
So if you click on that within your within the chat here, it'll give you an opportunity to set up a personalized consult over that, and we can go over business strategy plan. Or maybe you just enjoy photography and you're not doing this as a profession, but you just want to be better. We can talk to you about that as well. But in 2021 is going to be a big year, and I'm really excited about it. And I'd love to know, how much do you guys invest in yourself each year? I personally spend about $80,000 a year, minimum each year, on investing in myself, whether it's further development, whether it's workshops that I go to, whether it's developing my portfolio. Most of this also on my marketing budget and portfolios, websites, all of that as well. I spend a huge amount on LinkedIn marketing, email marketing, as well as promos and things like that. And I just want to get my stuff out there in front of people, because, the more that I get in front of them, the more opportunities that I gain. Absolutely. And I think that's really, really important. So let me know what you guys do here. I think please answer that poll question. That'd be absolutely fantastic. If you guys are interested in more information, make sure to click on the link and set up in the chat and set up a consult. Now, I'm really excited too about not only this amazing stuff that we shot with fashion, but I had an amazing photographer that attended all 4 days of this workshop named Kelly. Now, Kelly, I'd love for you to jump on, because Kelly, you're a brilliant photographer. You attended the Chicago workshop. and created, we created mind-blowing images at the Chicago workshop. And just to kind of remind you guys of what we did in Chicago, it was both fashion and it was lifestyle, but we created content in line with this. And we also started we did a lifestyle day and created some mind-blowing content, and Kelly did as well. But at the masterclass, one of the things that I personally wanted to work with Kelly on is developing her lifestyle storytelling, lifestyle art direction. And I think that this is where, it's great to have supermodels standing out there in front of parachutes and with horses and stuff like that. And just the production value alone and the level of models, it's like you can't shoot a bad picture. Everything's going to be amazing. And it's easy because the models are just automatic. They just do it themselves. However, when you're doing lifestyle, it's a completely different ballgame, guys. When you're doing lifestyle is the most challenging style of photography. And it is because we're trying to create stories, allowing those stories to unfold and then capturing them. And this is not easy. It's not easy to tell lifestyle stories. It might look easy, it might seem easy, but it's actually really, really hard. And it's what our photographers struggle with the most. Now, Kelly's a master photographer. And she created amazing stuff in Chicago, and she, I've worked with her and coached her throughout. But I also wanted to make sure that at the lifestyle day that we were going to knock things out of the park on another level. And I feel like Kelly did. So Kelly, tell me about your experience with shooting lifestyle and kind of like what you learned and how you grew as a lifestyle photographer.
Well, I've always been a portrait photographer, pretty much consumer-based, and I have a consumer-based website, and I've never dived into doing things for ad agencies. I have, but I've never marketed myself towards them. And I knew I needed, the type of stuff I wanted to do is advertising lifestyle, and I know I need really great lifestyle stuff in order to submit that to the top ad agencies. So, yeah, thankfully I joined one of your webinars and discovered you, and now it's overwhelming how much help I have now. So I have a direction and people cheering me on, and I have people to call if I have questions or whatever. But and then at the workshop, you're there to show me, what looks best and kind of guide me, and hopefully I'll be able to do this on my own one day, but with the production that you put on and all the direction and the support, I definitely think I'll be booking some lifestyle stuff soon.
Absolutely, because this is where all the money is. If you want to make money in photography, it's lifestyle advertising. And Kelly, I want you to do it on your own and do it as much as possible, but you got to have the production quality. You've got to have the art direction and the posing. And one of the things I worked with Kelly on was that prior to this, she was having a hard time art directing scenes they kind of looked like everybody was standing around, like 4 models standing around. I wanted to make sure that I feel like I'm inside of the scene with the models. And this image right here, I'm inside of the scene with the models, Kelly. This is breathtaking. These are amazing. I feel sequences where they look real and authentic and fun and energized, and I feel so engaged in the images. I mean, this right here, oh my gosh, I am in the scene. I'm partying with them. I'm dancing with them. I feel like I'm inside the scene of the images, or with the models in these images. It has impact, Kelly. You created images with impact and a sense of emotion and feeling and realness to them that are amazing. And I'm really proud of you because I feel like such a substantial, transformation in your photography. Yeah. And
I've been to 2 workshops, and I pick up so much information every time, make connections. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm really, really proud of you because these are some spectacular content of what we created. And it's not easy because when we're coaching talent into these scenes, it's everyone's looking in different directions. You've got some models closing their eyes. You have some models that are, too far away, too close, coming out of frame, going out of frame. But you were able to capture this really, really well. And they look authentic. Like this looks so authentic. And that's what I wanted from you, Kelly, is authenticity. absolutely stunning authenticity. And I feel so impressed at what you were able to create here, because it's absolutely breathtaking. And I feel like you shot the greatest lifestyle you've ever shot in your life.
Yep.
That's what I'm excited for. And I can't wait going forward, because I know you're coming to an upcoming workshop on lifestyle advertising, and it's going to be amazing. Where all 4 days are going to be lifestyle in Newport, and it's going to be just yeah, it's going to be a blast. It's going to be a blast. So, and that's why, guys, you know, we've been doing this a long time, and we have a 95% re-enrollment rate. So 95 out of 100 photographers that come not only come to one workshop, but they come to 2, 3, 5, 10, even 11 workshops. And it's really incredible because they start to see the success that comes out of it. Not only the art direction and the, you know, shifting into the higher level quality of what they're able to art direct, but also the production value. The production value that is just so hard to access on your own, right? The scale of what we're able to create. So really proud of you, Kelly. I feel like there is a big transformation. Now, Kelly, talk to me about the actual fashion days, because on the fashion days, we shot with horses. You got some amazing stuff with the horses. Was there a certain sequence that you loved the most?
I love the avant-garde gold situation with the red behind her. So I thought that was beautiful. It's just so dynamic, the colors.
Uh-huh.
So I love
You're talking about the one with Valena with gold behind with gold?
Yeah.
Got it.
Gold,
Yeah.
red parachute.
Uh-huh. Yep. All right, I'll pull that one up. That scene kind of blew you away.
Yeah, because I mean, avant-garde is fun. You know, you can't get that wardrobe anywhere. You know, so it's something that I've always I would like to shoot more of. You know, and yeah, I mean, where can you get that?
Absolutely. And that's hard. So let's talk about that. Where do you get wardrobe like that? So I have a lot of relationships I've built, and I always recommend this because I love to build relationships with designers. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that you guys connect with showrooms and designers, and the thing is they're going to be interested in working with you if you have amazing content in your body of work. Now, I'm fortunate in the position I have and the body of work that I have, and that I've been able to, if I contact a designer, the designers are like, they throw wardrobe at me. They're just like, oh my God, I want you to shoot with it, because they wanted it in Magazine Editorial. They want it published. They want it featured. And and that's pretty fantastic. So when we can do that, because of that photographic currency that I've built over the years, just like you just did here, Kelly, it gives you the opportunity to work with all these amazing designers, which is pretty fantastic. But you created something, and I love this. I love the pose here. I love the elegance of it. Really unbelievable. Love this. I mean, just spectacular. Really great way of showcasing that dress. Absolutely stunning, right? Really, really well photographed. Great double page spread. I think this one's probably one of my absolute favorite. Love the expression. And that's another thing, guys, is expression is everything. All right. So I would love to also hear from some of our amazing, like our production coordinator. We have Priscilla on here. And Priscilla was actually, not only did she coordinate and bring in these amazing horses into the sequence, which was really, really hard to do because getting, essentially two horses that are willing to do this, that's not easy to do. That's a really, really challenging endeavor. So Priscilla, talk to me a little bit about, how you're able to coordinate something like this, and then also how you kind of coach the horses to do what they needed to do with the models.
Yeah, well, I mean, working with horses or animals of any kind, it obviously adds a level of unpredictability to a set. So when we brought the horses in, the studio itself, we were shooting with the parachutes at the same time as the horses. So we had to make sure that we got animals that were happy being walked right through a set that's being worked at the time. Everything was happening. And to do that, we, as a writer, I connected with a couple of local horse owners, and horses themselves, you've got obviously a huge range in colors and breeds and sizes, but you've also got a big range in your horse owners. So we wanted to make sure that we got the right owner, the right people to bring them in who were going to be really calm with a dynamic, changeable set that was all happening at the same time. So I think with the white background of the water studio, we wanted to play around with a white, or as close to white as we could get in the gray range of horses. So we managed to find this beautiful white mare that you can see on the screen now. And she was fantastic. She walked straight in. We had models that had never ridden before up on her, and she even used some basic tricks. So we could have her owner tap her leg, front leg, and she could lift it up and pour it the water on command. So in a couple of the images, she's doing that, and it creates a lot of splash and effects like that. But we also had the same owner had another horse. She had a stallion. So we actually had a stallion and a mare on set at the same time, which was a little bit nerve-wracking for her, obviously. He was a young stallion, so a young colt. So we didn't quite know that he was a stallion at that point in time, because obviously they can be a little bit dangerous to work with, particularly with a mare at the same time. But he was a dappled buckskin. So he had these beautiful like gradients through his colors, and also had the dapples, so like the spotting effect on the brown, which looked wonderful on camera. Yeah, he was beautiful, and a real poser too. So we had an amazing owner who was so comfortable and happy with her horses to be used. We had people in saddles on them. We had different saddles, different tack. So we tried to, vary the scenes as much as possible, and we made sure she came as prepared as possible. And she brought a helper, but definitely always on these kind of sets, if you're working with animals, it's great to have people on standby that know exactly what to do when things get a little bit, tough or unpredictable. So they were fantastic. They were loved by all, and the horses were brilliant on camera. Oh, I think you're on mute, Kevin. Yeah.
Working with horses, there's some technical errors, guys. There's some things that like you've got to really work out with horses, because you tend to have they get spooked, they get scared of like parachutes, they get scared of working with lots of people, lighting equipment, really bright reflections. And also riders that are inexperienced and scared out of their mind, because horses sense everything. So Priscilla, what did you do to essentially kind of calm the horses, or were there any, can you give us some guidance on when you're working with horses, especially when you actually got to ride one and gallop across the water? Can you give us some, some essential guidance on that?
Yeah, so I think if you're ever working with a horse as a photographer, a really good question to ask an owner before you use their horse is how desensitized the horse is. So basically with horses, there's two things that are going to set them off, that are going to make them spook or be a little difficult to work with. And that is sound as well as movement. So movement and noise. So think about it, a loud bang goes off, that's going to spook them. Noise, any kind of noise from the fans that we had from, having the parachute going the whole time, that's, noisy and a little scary for them. So movement, obviously the parachute, the dresses, and just being on a dynamic set, there was a combination of that. So we made sure that we connected with these owners and actually just asked the right questions before we brought these horses in. How desensitized are your horses? Are they young? The colt was pretty young. So we did find that he was a little more, I guess you could say, fidgety on set. So the mare was older and more experienced, and she had a really calming effect on the stallion as well, because they, obviously know each other. So when you're using them, you want to make sure that they're as desensitized as possible without looking half asleep. So you want them to have a bit of presence, but to be really calm and controlled. So when I was riding the mare, that was actually at the end of the day. So we had really even light, because the sun was just setting, and she was actually so relaxed that it was pretty hard to get her going and to wake her up in the water, and the water's heavy, and the dress itself, that's a lot of movement with the dress, right, as you're riding. So that was critical to make sure that this mare was really desensitized to movement, because even when we stopped, as we're going, the dress is flowing, but when we're stopped in the water and she takes a step back, she's suddenly pulling that dress with me back down. So, she's got to be okay with that, and that can't scare her too much. So we made sure that the horses were as quiet as possible, but in some of the photos, I think a little bit of post-production was needed, because as a rider, you want to put your feet up so that you can grip in with your legs and really encourage her to wake up and get moving. But obviously on camera, having toes pointing down is much more like aesthetically pleasing. So yeah, we made sure that they were quiet, they were settled, but we saved those really dynamic scenes. So the scenes with a lot of drama and movement, we saved them to the end because we knew that by that time they would be as settled as they were going to be during the day of shooting.
Excellent. Excellent. And Priscilla, talk to me a little bit about, you know, being on a set like that. You got to work with all these amazing photographers that photographed you. Did any of them give you, was there any kind of like special guidance that helped with like when they were art directing the scene with the horses and how you interacted with them, and any maybe suggestions of what you'd like to hear coming from a model's perspective? I think that that's really interesting to photographers to know.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're, you know, thinking about as many things as possible, the more direction, the better. So, you know, I wouldn't have been at all offended to hear the same thing said multiple times if need be. So I think I was told, you know, where to look up into the light and, you know, what kind of angle to come round at to change it or to keep it the same. So the more direction, the better. But the photographers were fantastic. There was a real feeling of like family, and everyone was so collaborative on set. And I think it really shows in the photos because everyone's captured such incredible shots of these horses, which, you know, obviously makes the owner very happy, but it gives you guys fantastic results to work with and to showcase going forward.
Excellent. Thanks, Priscilla. Now, Dan, Dan Rothschild, you were there on set with us, and you know, and you've been on the last 3 out of 4 workshops, and you're coming to this one in Miami. Talk to me about kind of the experience of what it's like, because, you know, a lot of photographers, it's like they get a little bit worried sometimes about like, hey, if I come to one of these amazing workshops, you know, am I going to be able to get the shot? Is everything provided for me? What kind of assistance are good? Do I have to move all the equipment myself? And if I have maybe health issues, like that can be a problem. Can you talk about a little bit about that and kind of what it's like from the photographer's perspective?
Sure. Oh, definitely. Thank you, Kevin. Well, so I've been on many workshops, and part of what we and what Kevin has designed and we all help supply is an entire experience, so that you get to come as a photographer and truly do everything you're wanting. So not only is, you know, you don't have to worry about, you know, the models, the hair, the makeup, the wardrobes, the challenges that happen, you know, in any production. And the team is there to help the photographers. Like, for instance, team members like myself will be everywhere checking with the photographers. Hey, how are you doing? Are you getting your shots? Did you get time in? And sometimes I'll see a photographer sitting back, maybe a little shy, you know, and I'll come on, you need to get in there. Let's get you in, make sure you get your time. And what do you need? And they'll ask questions. Okay, well, let me get Kevin to help you, you know, and the whole team functions the way I'm speaking, that I say what I do is everyone does, our whole team does. So we're there helping the photographers get what they need, because each photographer is asking and looking for different things and a different experience, and they have different strengths and different lesser strengths. So we recognize that, and we've done this long enough. So we work to make the experience incredible in all ways. You know, even to the models out in the middle of the water. Hey, do you need water? You know, do you need a break? You know, the photographers, have you eaten anything? You know, just it's a multitude of details that makes it so that you get to come and have an incredible experience. Is that what you're asking about, sort of? I mean,
absolutely, yeah. And, you know, I mean, I think that because a lot of photographers always ask, like, well, what's it like, you know? And I think it's important for them to understand how well they're taken care of. I mean, it's just like if they were a David LaChapelle or a Mario Justino on set, you get everything at your fingertips. You don't have to move a single light. You don't have to, you know, haul sandbags. You don't have to do, you know, you've got world-class high-end catering from top chefs. It's an experience of a lifetime, because when you're on set with me, you're just like you're shooting a $100,000 a day production for a major campaign. And I want you to feel that way, and I want you to feel empowered like that. And Dan, could you talk a little bit about, like, if a photographer is to do a consult with you on, say, producing an art direction or portfolio reviews, what do you see that they get out of that? Because I know you do that all the time.
Well, you know, Kevin, I work with a lot of photographers, and one of the things I notice and that I work with photographers on is most photographers, and anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, don't have the entire photographic business in order, and they are stronger in some areas. For instance, I work with photographers. I look at their portfolios, along with you help in that very much, and we work on their websites. Are there photos in their website going to help market them? Do they flow correctly? Does the experience of a customer coming onto their website and looking at their work, is it easy? Will it keep them on their site to keep wanting to look more? How about your business plan? If a photographer has a business, you have to have a business plan. You may not like that. You may not want to do that. That's where we come into, we help you with many things, not only at the workshops, in photography, but then the business side of it. If you don't have a business plan, you've already arrived. You're where you're going to be. And so we work with you to, put together a business plan, fine tune it, help you on the marketing, and define. I talk to a lot of photographers that kind of don't know exactly what photography they want to do. They offer many different types on their website. And so I help them fine tune that to, okay, well, what do you really want to do? And is it important to make money? And if so, then, let's look at developing a portfolio for that type of photography, and how to then market it, how to get connected with representatives, agents. What does it take? Introducing them at every workshop to agents. It's photography business is a big package, and we work with the entire thing. And I get teased every once in a while. Oh my gosh, Dan, you sell this so much. Well, no, I believe in this, and the same as any business. You believe in what you're doing and you love it. You want everyone to know about it, and you want to remind people of it, because we get busy. We get busy over here and over there. So I'll come and knock on the door and go, hey, remember, you need to advance. You also have to prepare for the upcoming year. This year's been tough. And 2021, you've got to launch and be prepared to rock and roll. So you want to have everything in order. Doing workshops helps greatly to build that portfolio, that body of work, so you can market and compete with the greatest photographers out there and land ad campaigns, big high dollar ad campaigns. And you have to have the marketing in place, you have to have your thoughts in place and in order. We help you with all of that. I love doing that. I've helped people and businesses my entire life with their careers. It's one of my specialties, and our whole team is fantastic. Everyone on the team that does the same work I do, they're all great. So whomever you work with, you're gonna have a fantastic experience. And look, Kevin, you won't say this, but I will. And that is, it's rare that you get to have a mentor in life and someone who really knows what they're doing and loves giving and loves teaching. And that's you, Kevin. It's a rare opportunity in life. And I'll tell photographers, hey, look, the workshop is not what it's all about. It's after the workshop as well. You have to let us know. We'll work with you as much as you'll allow us to help you be successful. And we love, you hear us, we love bragging about all the photographers that come to the workshops and end up doing better and better and better. We love it. We love success. And so that's what we're here for. That's my 2 cents worth.
I love it. I love it, Dan.
The dollar's worth.
I appreciate that. And Jim, I'd love to hear from you too, because Jim, you've been coaching a lot of photographers lately, and some of them are on this webinar right now. And I'd love to hear kind of like, you know, when you're doing like a photographic review, Jim, and you're talking to them about their photography, what it is that, you know, what kind of advice do you like to give photographers that's going to help them kind of go to the next level?
Well, I really love talking to them about, you know, freshening up their portfolio. I mean, a lot of the photographers we approach are very talented people, but they have a tendency sometimes to not have a lot of new content. And one of the things that we do, like Dan was talking about, is we try to be able to create a long-term program for everybody that comes to our workshops. And one of those things is to be able to use the benefits of fashion photography, which may not be where the money is, but it's where the exposure is. We have people who attend our workshops that actually get published shortly after the workshops. And then in addition to that, we do lifestyle photography at the workshops as well, which with a combination of the two creates photographic currency that just brings you a long way. It gives you the ability to be able to focus in on trying to be able to present yourself to the decision makers. And I think that it's just fantastic what some of the photographers are doing with their career. We've got folks at all different levels of their career, from people who've been shooting for years and years to some folks that are you know, retired and from another career and have launched into photography as a career. And we give them the ability to be able to have both the exposure and the self-satisfaction of being able to raise themselves to another level, to catapult their career. And I just think it's wonderful. I love doing this. And it's some of the folks that we're working with are just having a blast. And I think that the folks out there that decide to take some of these workshops are going to have more fun than they ever thought they would. It's just a blast.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Jim, about having fun, because it really is about an experience, isn't it?
It sure is. Yeah, it is about an experience. I mean, they're getting to do, I mean, I think they can see that through the photography that they're seeing in the webinar today. I mean, it's just mind blowing. You know, I mean, just can't imagine having this kind of quality of photography in a matter of a 4-day workshop. But it certainly happens, and Kevin, we've got you to thank for that. But also everybody working with you to be able to provide this exceptional experience. I mean, otherworldly. Look at that. Just look at that. Isn't that amazing?
It is. It is. Nick, we're just wowed and dazzled by you, and all the photographers that are on. They all created just timeless, iconic images that have taken it to another level. Now, Sean is an amazing photographic consultant and video production consultant. And Sean, talk to us a little bit about that, because you work with a lot of talented photographers, including, you know, Evan and many of the photographers that are on here. Talk to me, Sean, a little bit about kind of what you see, kind of that. I want to, I guess, talk to me about that aha moment, because I notice it when I'm there on set. And these photographers, like maybe they're a portrait photographer, or maybe they live in, you know, in Texas, like Kelly, or maybe they, you know, live up in Northern California, like Carl, or, you know, maybe they even did something else as their career, but there's an aha moment that happens, Sean. Talk to me about that. When you see a photographer just light up and they shot the greatest image of their lifetime.
Oh, man, that's, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. So,
You're actually a little quiet. You can maybe turn your volume up a little bit.
1 second. Let me check this setting real quick, just in case.
But yeah, as he's fixing that, I mean, essentially, I notice it because I love to help photographers, and I love to see them just light up when they're just like, oh my God, I can't believe I shot that. I can't believe I just created this image that is just like, now this is the front of my portfolio. Holy crap, like I can't even believe that I just shot an image at this level, and I didn't even know I was capable of it. You know, Carl mentioned something earlier about that. He's like, I didn't even realize what I was even capable of doing. But the thing is when you have access to a set like this, it's pretty mind-blowing, because, you know, you can actually have that capability to now photograph the greatest images ever because you have that production quality. And the production quality is huge, and that's what you actually get at the workshops.
I think I might be better now.
Yeah, that's much better.
All right. Sorry about that, everybody. But basically, honestly, I can't really point it to one particular moment, but, you know, I'll just flat out just talk about our most recent. I mean, in New York, when we did, you know, the big castle, and, you know, the photographers came out there, you know, they were absolutely wowed by first the quality of the production, the location, and the models, that pretty much everybody that walked on set, you know, even if they've done a workshop before, was extremely wowed. I mean, just as soon as they walked on set, and especially once they started taking their photographs. So, and credit to Kevin, because Kevin always tries to, actually, I don't say try, he does. He one-ups every single workshop. So every workshop, you know, coming the next year, if you're in Miami, you're going to expect to see something different. You're going to see something even higher quality. So, I mean, I'm talking from the models to the location to the food. You know, I ate really well. I'm going to put it that way. I think I gotta do some running afterwards. But, you know, I'm just going to talk very directly. Even, you know, I worked with Even, and, you know, I talked with Nick. I've talked with a lot of the guys here that, you know, were at the masterclass. Carl, and that aha happened every single, Carl was happy as hell. Every single time he looked at those photos, he's just like, man, look at this. That just shows that this level is really a level that a lot of people photographers just don't have the opportunity to work on, because these are $100,000, $200,000 sets. I mean, in terms of production value, you know, we bring in like $100,000 worth of pro photo equipment, you know, between the location, the models. I mean, you'd be spending an awful lot of money to try to produce this on your own. And I've had people come to me, you know, that I've talked to before, and they're like, oh, you know what, I'm going to try to do this. And then they write me back later, and they're like, man, that was expensive. And then they show me their images, and the images aren't to the quality that they hope they would be. But that's what comes in with, you know, having a mentor, having somebody that's been there and done that. Kevin has, you know, first been doing this workshop series for over 11 years. And he's been represented by some of the top agents out there. So, you know, let Kevin reinvent the wheel, because honestly, with the workshops, he does it every time. And we just keep moving faster and more efficient each and every time. So I think that aha moment, it's almost regular to me now. It's like, okay, you know, workshop time, here comes the photographers. Aha, there we go. You know, they get on set and they're just motivated, and the energy, and I mean, the other guy spoke to it already. I mean, the aha moment it's a given, honestly, every time. I've yet to see a non-aha moment.
Yeah, it happens every time. And Sean, that's what I live for. That's what I've been doing this my whole time for, because I live to see those aha moments for my photographers. I feel honored, and I feel so excited for them to see the success happen and to see moments like this. And, you know, we have one coming up this week, by the way, and I have all these relationships. So I connected, I've got somebody that hooked this up with their mansion in Key Largo. So we're going to be shooting at a mansion in Key Largo. We've got a seaplane there. We may even have a helicopter there. We're going to be shooting at this location. This is the spot. Actually, here's the seaplane. These are images from it. We've shot here before. It's incredible. This is just, in fact, actually what we shot here before was this. If you see that video playing, we shot with this top, she was Miss Brazil, Natalia. It was unbelievable. And we're bringing in top Sports Illustrated models, and we're going to be, and this is another one of our locations, another mansion estate in Miami Beach, or in Miami. It's incredible. So access to some of the most epic scenes. And then we have images that were shot. These are all from past workshops here. This was with Alessandro Tomacheski from Sports Illustrated. And then also we're doing resort lifestyle, which is absolutely spectacular. And even publishing our photographers. So, you know, we've had every single year we do this, every single one it gets published. And that's a big deal. When you get to, you know, as a photographer to get published and featured, whether it's lifestyle, whether it's fashion, it's huge. It's huge for you. It's huge for your credibility. And we're going to be shooting on a lifestyle day like this, where we're going to be shooting with unbelievable top models from Sports Illustrated and also top swimsuits. Actually, we're using even a lot of the models that are, or the swim line. That's a Sports Illustrated brand swim line from Venus. And then we're going to be shooting epic stuff like this. This is going to be on the swim day of the workshop, which is going to be spectacular. So this is happening this week. We start on Wednesday. One spot is open, so if you guys do want to join us, we'd love to have you. We have an amazing group of photographers, and some of the photographers on this webinar right now are going to be there, which I'm really excited about. And then we have a whole resort lifestyle section as well, where it's going to be Miami Beach resort lifestyle on location, and we're also going to be shooting at a luxury resort in Miami Beach. So it's going to be pretty insane of what we have in store for us this week. So every year I try to outdo, just like these guys have said, what we did the prior year. And this year, without further ado, is definitely going to outdo what we've done before. And here's some inspiration for the Resort Lifestyle Day and for wardrobe and such. And we've got unbelievable tens of thousands of dollars of clothes that are pulled for this from top brands. And it's going to be absolutely stunning. So I'm pulling out all the stops and making sure this every single aspect of the production is going to be absolutely mind-blowing. So I'd love to see you guys this week if you can make it. And if you guys are interested, definitely hit us up because that one spot is left, and we're very, very careful about how many people enroll. Most of the workshops in the next 6 months are actually completely sold out. So let us know and definitely get enrolled, because we are, we definitely want to get you guys in now, and we can hook you up with actually a $500 discount for attending this webinar. So it would be a really good opportunity to do that now. But anyway, guys, Miami Beach is going to be completely opposite, essentially, of what we just did with fashion. But also get kind of in line with what we did with lifestyle. And we like to offer different types of workshops for different type of photographers. We also have travel workshops where we go to places like Morocco, Bali, Tanzania. We have Santorini and Mykonos. We've got the epic castle fashion story, where it's going to be in France at the castle. And then, of course, we have our 4-day experiences here. And in 2022, we're launching the Dream Luxe experiences, which are ultra luxury experiences, combining the two, not only just the travel National Geographic stuff, but also high-end fashion with supermodels and celebrities, where we're going to be going to places like the Seychelles, Maldives, and Bora Bora. So we've got a lot of really exciting things coming up, guys, and I'd really recommend you guys get on the boat with these photographers that have all shown you how they've shot the greatest images of their lifetime, because they are. These images have completely changed these photographers' lives, and I'm really excited because now I get to work with them to see all the success that's going to happen going forward, and I absolutely love it. So I can't wait to see you guys at an upcoming workshop. I hope you have an amazing weekend, and let's definitely talk soon. Consult with one of our photographic consultants, and let's take your photography to the highest level of your potential.